Talk a little bit about how I actually get reviews. It's a process. You may have people that voluntarily find you on one of your review sites. Maybe you're using Google Plus and Yelp. Maybe you only choose to focus on Yelp. Maybe you're focusing on Zillow and Google Plus. Maybe you're going to have one of everything. Angie's List, Zillow, Google Plus, Yelp, Trulia, anything else I might be missing. I personally think it's important to have many because if you contact a client that you've closed business with and you say, boy, I'd love it if you Yelped me. What if they don't have a Yelp account? What if they have Google Plus and you've only given them one option? What if you contact somebody and say, I'd love it if you would write a review for me on Zillow or Yelp. But what if they only have Google Plus and Angie's List? So to me, it's important to have many of them or all of them. I have many. I don't have all of them. I can only focus on so much. So when I ask for a review, now some of these review sites, Yelp for example, says don't ask for a review. Let it happen organically. That's not going to happen. People need to be nudged and pushed, and people need to be given the link to be taken directly to your profile so they know where to find you. Now, what I normally do is the first thing I'll do after I close some business with somebody is that I will call them and I'll say, how did settlement go? I'm glad it went well. I'd like to close the loop on a few important subjects. We have a nice chat. They're excited. Deal closed. And the last thing I say is, I'm going to follow up with an email that's going to close the loop on some other things that are really important. Please read through the email. And there's also going to be some links that will allow you to review me online. It's really become important for me to establish an online reputation with reviews. Would you please do so? Now, everybody's going to say yes. In my experience, somewhere between 15 and 30% will actually do it, and that's just the way it goes. I make the one phone call. I follow up with this email that I'm getting ready to show you and go through. I follow up one more time by phone or email, depending on the personality and the people I'm dealing with and the time of year. It depends. And then I leave it alone. If they've reviewed me, great. If not, they're just not going to do it. So here's the email that I send after I make the phone call, follow up on closing, let them know that I'm going to be asking them to review me and sending them links to do so. Now, to me, whenever I email somebody, I try and give them something. I don't want to just ask for something. If I'm going to barge into their email inbox, I want to give them something. So here's my settlement follow-up email from me. Hello, client, and I'll type in their name. Now remember, this is after my phone call. So I already know that settlement went well. So I say, I'm glad settlement went well. Let me know if you have any questions going forward. I talk to them a little bit about how to make their first payment, when it's due, where they make the payment to. I give them access to an amortization schedule. I let them know how to drop their mortgage insurance if their loan has mortgage insurance. I let them know that I'll be looking out for a refinance in the future if rates drop. They love to know that I'm looking out for them. I ask them if they want a CPA or a financial advisor referral. Now I close with asking them to review me. Now at this point, I've asked them and they've said yes. So I start out with, thanks for agreeing to review me online. I want to reinforce, don't forget, you said you're going to review me. And then we go into the links. This one is for Google Plus. And I mentioned to them, this is probably the easiest one to use if you don't use any of the below. I say this because Google Plus doesn't necessarily require membership or a login. Yelp and Zillow and the rest do. So I lead off with that one, and then I come in with only if you're active on Yelp, click here. And then I tell them where to go. In the upper right hand of the website, there's a red button that says write a review. I say only if you are active on Yelp because, as I've said on some other videos, if somebody doesn't use Yelp, if somebody has no Yelp friends, if I'm going to be their first Yelp review, it's not going to count, and Yelp is going to bury it in the not recommended category of reviews where nobody is likely to see it. So you really want people to be fairly active Yelpers, be involved in the Yelp community. Maybe they have several Yelp friends and they've done 3 or 4 Yelp reviews. Maybe they have no Yelp friends, but they've done 9 or 10 reviews. A big score is if they're really active on Yelp and they've got 36 Yelp friends and they've done 50 Yelp reviews. That's a really great Yelper, and that's going to be heavily weighted in my Yelps. Then I go on to ask them about Zillow. I tell them where to like me on Facebook, which I'm not as big a fan of, but I mention it if it's the only thing they have. I want to mention it. I let them know where they can write me a recommendation on LinkedIn. I've got an Angie's List profile. And then I thank them. I thank them for their business. I put a little contact information about me, and that's it. Now, sometimes if I'm going to follow up with somebody via email, or maybe I'm not sending them that colorful templated HTML email that I just show you, I've got something that I do. I've got some software that I use where I type in certain letters and it expands. It's called Text Expander for the Mac. For Windows, you can look for some software called Breevy, but watch this. Actually, let me do this again. I'll type in review DC ask, and then it will type out the whole email. All I have to type in are a couple things. The client's name. How are you? I hope all is well with you and Anne. Or if there's no partner, I'll just say I hope all is well with you. And then everything else is typed out. I want to ask you to review me. The way the internet has changed things, business reviews are becoming essential, which is so true. To leave me a review, and then I've got my Google Plus, my Yelp, only if you are an active Yelp user, so on and so forth. So that is how I ask for reviews. That is a bit on how I follow up for reviews, and just a little bit about my philosophy on getting reviews, and I hope that helps, and I think it's really important. Good luck.